Alright, hey guys, so there's a new Link monster that is similar to Electrumite, and Electrumite is of course banned, and it's a it's a Link monster that helped Pendulum monsters immensely. And obviously, once Electrumite got banned, Pendulum was already struggling with the Master Rule 5, and yeah, it's been struggling since. It's pretty tough to run a Pendulum deck, but there's finally new support that brings similar to Electrumite. But first I want to compare the two, and I thought it would be appropriate to start with Electrumite. So let's read Electrumite. So Electrumite requires 2 Pendulum monsters and to summon it, and then if this card is link summoned, you can add 1 Pendulum monster from your deck to your extra deck face up. So this enabled you, so when it's link summoned on its own, you're able to just add 1 Pendulum monster from your deck to your extra deck. So that just generates value, as you're able to just avoid having to destroy that Pendulum monster to get it there. You're just able to search out any Pendulum monster that you want, essentially, and then once you're able to Pendulum summon, you're able to get that monster out for free. So again, an amazing effect here. Once returned, you can target one other face-up card you control, destroy it, then add 1 face-up Pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand. So in the similar sense, you're able to use this, target one other face-up card you control. So there was a lot of cards that were able to abuse this, as you're able to destroy cards that want to be destroyed, and that generate more value from that. And then you add that face-up Pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand. So this enabled you to search out any Pendulum monster you wanted, pretty much. Or since they're separated into two different effects, you are able to use it in like different interactions. So if you want to leave that Pendulum monster in your extra deck, you're able to do that, and then just pick up a different monster. So that's really nice to have. And then if a card in your Pendulum zone leaves the field, you draw a card, which it was just icing on the cake, just being able to draw an extra card once you lose a card in your Pendulum zone. And then each effect is limited to once per turn. But essentially, it was just a search. It was a searcher. It was just a link to, a generic link to that was that every Pendulum deck ran, and it was really good. It just gave you so much advantage, and just being able to draw extra cards was just a nice bonus there. But you can see how it's good and why it got banned. Let's look at the new card. So here we got Beyond the Pendulum. So here, Beyond the Pendulum, it's a link to a spellcaster link. It requires 2 effect monsters, including a Pendulum monster. So unlike Electrumite that required 2 Pendulum monsters, this one just requires 1. But you can do it with 2, of course. If this card is link summoned to the extra monster zone, you can pay 1200 life points, add 1 Pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. After adding it to your hand until the end of this turn, you cannot activate monster effects. Also, the effect of cards in your Pendulum zone are negated until you Pendulum summon. So that's a bit to go through. But if it's link summoned to the extra monster zone, you can pay 1200. So similar to this, where when it's link summoned, you get a Pendulum monster, put it on the extra deck face up, and then you're able to get it back through the second effect. But this card just kind of skips all that. You just have to pay 1200 life points, and you just add a Pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. But then after adding it, there's actually like a consequence to slow it down, since they learned from Electrumite. But they still want to provide some support for Pendulums. So after adding it to your hand until the end of this turn, you cannot activate monster effects. Also, the effect of cards in your Pendulum zone are negated until you Pendulum summon. So it looks like this is it doesn't seem like it's gonna be too big of a problem. You're just gonna have to Pendulum summon right after doing this, so it does make the timing a bit more specific and harder to do than with this one. But you are just gonna have to figure that out and keep that in mind when you're Pendulum summoning. It's a interesting clause to have here. I'm not sure how effective it's gonna be in the long run, but it isn't a way to slow it down, I guess. So second effect, if 2 monsters with different original levels are Pendulum summoned at the same time to the zones this card points to, so you just keep these 2 open, so when you Pendulum summon, you can target 2 cards in the field, destroy them. So okay, that's pretty nice, as you're able to just use this link to pop 2 cards, either on your opponent's side of the field, or you could pop your own. It doesn't say anything about just being on the opponent's side. So you can use this similar to Electrumite, where you're able to target one other face-up card you control, destroy it, then add one Pendulum monster. So you don't get to add a Pendulum monster, but you do get to destroy your own card if you want to do that. This does definitely feel like it's just Electrumite, like errata. It is a different card, but it does have it is pretty similar. But yeah, this looks pretty good, being able to still destroy 2 cards. You do lose, we lose out on the draw effect. So they just thought that was too extra, and makes sense. It was like pretty much a necessary bonus to have there. That kind of sealed the deal. But this one, although it doesn't have that, it's still a generic link monster that you can go into in a Pendulum deck. That doesn't even require it doesn't require you to have 2 Pendulum monsters, just 1. So even if your deck isn't completely a Pendulum deck, you're still able to run this card and do it sufficiently. Yeah, you're still able to use it to search out any Pendulum monster for just 1200. And although it does limit you until you Pendulum summon, it is a searcher. You're just gonna have to be more careful on how you use it and make sure that your summons do get through. Otherwise, you're pretty much screwed for the turn. But it's a nice way to slow this down. If 2 monsters with different original levels, this is just another way to pop 2 cards. Great way for you to generate advantage, and as well as slowing your opponent down. So I think this card is pretty good. Obviously, I don't think it's the same level of Electrumite, but I think it's like an errated version of Electrumite that I can see getting play and being still useful. But yeah, what do you guys think of this card? Tell me if you like it, if you don't, or if you agree with me or not. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and make sure to check out the new Predator Plant support on the top right corner, and I'll see you guys next time.